The question is,
Hmm.
uh, in one word, I will say attention,
Hmm.
but you understand what I want to say is that one you say that awareness. Okay, so awareness, that beingness, that knowingness, that's how I understand attention.
Hmm.
When you say about world, object, mind, okay.
Hmm.
When you say attention, so now like I'm seeing here, so there is attention, but when I shift to, I'm shifting my attention here.
Yes.
What is this attention? Is it same as awareness?
No, no.
Or is it mind?
No, no.
Is it function of
Attention,
mind?
attention is functioning of the mind.
Functioning of the mind.
Attention is the functioning of the mind.
Mind is thoughts.
It's a thought. Okay, it's a directing the mind. It's a will. Attention is a will. I have to whatever your attention goes. That's instrument, body mind complex instrument. The perception or the eyes go or whatever is go. That particular knowledge happens in the mind. There is knowledge only when the attention goes.
Like if I am not attending to one particular thing, now I'm like sitting here, I am into various channels I'm getting.
Then there's a just general awareness. There's no specific knowledge. The specific knowledge to happen, attention has to be there.
So can I say that if awareness is focused on something, then that is called as attention?
Awareness is a general entity, no?
Yeah,
Awareness is the background. Mind can focus. Awareness cannot focus.
Yeah, it can't focus.
So the mind focused on some direction, mind taking the sense organs and body in some direction is called attention to get the knowledge.
Controls this attention, mind will control this
attention comes from the mind to get a capture knowledge. Attention comes from the intention first. Intention has to be there. Without intention, there's no attention. Right? So for example, I have intention now. Intention is I want to see the clock. Intention comes, thought comes. Then I turn my head. The attention goes to the clock. So intention is the movement. Attention follows that. Attention, body, mind complex gets aligned with that. Then the knowledge happens. So the intention, attention, and knowledge, they are sequence.
Intention also is arriving through vasanas only.
So
mind only. Somebody is attending to something, another is attending to other thing. Means is because of their
intention.
But what is that process? I mean, can I say that it is like a concentration?
No. Concentration? The attention and concentration are different. Attention is you try to capture knowledge. Concentration is still focused, still narrow down the knowledge. It's like the attention window becomes smaller and smaller. This is called concentration. So more you attention when it is focused, it is a concentration. When the attention is focused on some narrow area, this is called concentration. Attention is the attention is wider. This is called the focus is on larger area. It's called attention.
Like in the mirror perspective, when you say mind is a mirror, so it is like a lens.
No. Mirror is not a lens. Mirror is a reflection.
It's a reflection. But if I just like a lens, if I put it, so it will not be in a broader way. It will be in a concentrated way. Yeah, lens is like a lens. Is a concept. This is called concentration. Focus. Right. So attention means a general, a diffuse light. So when there is attention only, the knowledge happens in the mind. Objects are coming to the mind. Like I am just attending to your voice. If the noise what is coming outside, you are not attending. If I shift my attention, the noise is the picture. Yeah. So it is like awareness is being giving direction. Not awareness. Awareness doesn't do any direction. Awareness is always there. The mind. No. I am not awareness. I am not direct. My mind is giving direction to the awareness. No. Awareness cannot be given direction. Awareness is always there. Awareness is like a light. It's light, but I can with lens I can focus. The focus is happening with respect to mind. Focus or defocusing. The awareness is like a unchanging light. It's knowing principle. It does not change. So, but mind can narrow, mind can expand. Mind can have a narrow focus or larger focus. And depending on how you focus, you'll get knowledge. Because as I told you, I'm just attending here. So the noise which is coming from outside, I'm not aware of it. The awareness is not aware of anything. It's non-dual. The knowledge of something happens in the mind. So don't mix up the awareness with knowledge.
anything outside. For the awareness point of view, there's nothing outside, nothing inside.
Thought says that. No?
From awareness point of view, there's nothing outside because awareness is non-dual.
From awareness point of view, nothing is there.
So,
from mind point of view.
So I am aware. You are speaking only with respect to mind point of view. Okay, awareness eliminates the mind. The pure awareness, there's nothing called inside outside. It's like a space. So that eliminates the mind. Then when you give attention, the mind narrows down the attention and captures the knowledge. The knowledge is eliminated by awareness. Awareness doesn't bother whether mind is there or mind is not there. Awareness doesn't bother. It just eliminates. The knowledge happens when the objects are there in the mind.
During meditation, like in meditation, we say samadhi, we attend to something. So it is attention is having any role in during this.
Yeah, attention is there. You are in vipassana. You are attending to the body. You are giving attention to the body. So you are observing what is body. Ultimately, you understand the body is nothing but vibration. So your attention becomes sharper and sharper. Then you recognize the body is not solid; it's vibration.
So attention is a tool to understand.
Attention is a tool to understand objects. Attention cannot understand the subject. So when Ramana Maharshi asked the question,
I attend to myself.
That's what I'm saying. When Ramana Maharshi is asking the question, who am I? The attention goes from the object to subject. When the attention goes from the object to subject, attention disappears because attention cannot find the subject. Attention can only focus on the object. Attention disappears in the subject. I is not a subject. I is not an object. Who am I? See the question, any question or any intention directs the attention. Okay, where is the fan? Attention goes there. So where is the light? That attention goes there. Now, who are you? The attention has to shift now. Attention is not a function of the mind now. The attention cannot shift to self because the self is not an object. So attention dissolves.
Attention dissolves.
Attention is not there now.
Attention is not there.
That means mind has merged with the self in that.
But if suppose, can there be mind without attention? I mean, I'm not attending to anything.
Yeah, if you don't give attention, there is a general knowledge of the mind. There's no, something comes to the mind, you recognize. Some event happens, mind recognizes.
But this attention is possible only through thought process.
Intention drives the attention. Intention is thought, which drives the attention. Attention is like, if you can say attention is like a steering wheel. So the attention, the steering wheel has to be turned. The head will turn.
Direction
it is giving direction to your body-mind complex to capture knowledge. Intention is the driver. Intention says, okay, change the direction. I want to see that. The attention goes there. Intention, attention, knowledge. Intention, attention, experience. That is the sequence. Okay. In Samadhi, Nirvikala Samadhi, you are gone beyond Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. You have gone beyond Anandamaya Kosha. So Vijnanamaya Kosha doesn't function there. Vijnanamaya Kosha functions in Paroksha Jnana, indirect knowledge. Are you getting what I'm saying? Bhubala, are you there? Yeah, is the question clear? Answer clear?
No, it was disconnected for some time.
So what I'm saying is, in Samadhi, you are going beyond 5 koshas.
Yes.
Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, you are going beyond that. So Vijnanamaya Kosha cannot function there.
Okay.
So there's no knowledge possible. Any knowledge possible right now here you are understanding. That is happening in Vijnanamaya Kosha, understanding.
Okay.
Right?
So we'll get it in Savikalpa Samadhi.
Savikalpa Samadhi, you get knowledge, yes.
From the Guru, or from the Guru will give us the teaching, and then from that we'll be able to get that to. How do we access that Vijnanamaya Kosha?
How do you access means now? Did you understand what I say?
Yes.
Then I have accessed Vijnanamaya Kosha.
Yes. Okay, Gurudev. Got it. Got it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other question? Anybody else?
ಈಗ ವೇಕಿಂಗ್
Okay. Carry on.
Waking state?
ವೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಚಿದಾಭಾಸಕ್ಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು
ಹೌದು
ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಚಿದಾಭಾಸ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ಭಾವವನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ಭಾವ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಮೈಂಡ್ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ನಾನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಚಿದಾಭಾಸನೆ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸರಿ, ಬಟ್ ನಾನು ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಿಂತು ನೋಡೋವಾಗ್ಲೂನು ಅದು ಚಿದಾಭಾಸನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಲ್ವಾ ಇವಾಗ ವೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇನ್ನೇನಿದ್ರು ನನ್ನ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚಿದಾಭಾಸ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ಭಾವವನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದು. ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನು ನನಗೇನು ತಿಳಿಯೋಕೇನು ಇಲ್ದೇ ಇರೋಂಥ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಡೀಪ್ ಸ್ಲೀಪ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಆ ಸ್ಟೇಟು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕೂಡ ವೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ.
Anybody else has any question?
Prabhuji, not about ನಾವು ಇದು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆದು ಸರೆಂಡರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಟಾಕ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಅದು frankly it is very scary, Prabhuji. That degree of surrender you talk about, I was quite disheartened actually.
Why?
ಅಟಾಮಿಕ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಆಸ್ ಯು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಮೋರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೋರ್ gradually gross will go and subtly will open up.
Okay.
So it is not a sudden process. Right?
So, and it cannot be a doing, Prabhuji. ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಮನಸ್ಸಿಂದ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬಲೆ ಕಷ್ಟ.
You don't do, no. Awareness is not become aware.
Yes. Correct.
So it's a gradual process of more and more self-awareness.
Okay.
Ultimately, all sense of self has to drop.
Okay. After hearing that, I'm getting scared. If I want to eat, I'll think, oh my God, am I giving into vasana anta?
Into vasana, no. Enjoy food, no.
Ashte.
That's what I spoke about Bhoga Vasana, Bandha Vasana.
Correct.
You heard of that, right?
Yes, howdu. Yeah.
So you should be focusing on the Bandha Vasana, Bhoga Vasana. No, enjoy food.
Okay.
If you are angry, shout at your husband.
Okay.
Bhoga Vasana will go. Don't worry.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Right? Bandha Vasana is I am the body. These are all Bandha Vasana. You have to focus on the Bandha Vasana. Bhoga Vasana, too much focus, not required.
Okay, thank you. Because the talk was all about how the senses, fully drop agate anta alva ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು. So it was kind of scary. Oh my God, atra state, even to imagine it's so difficult for me right now. So
ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬುದ್ಧನಿಗೆ ತಥಾಗತ ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ರೀ ಅಪ್ಪ.
ಅದೇ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. Right.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. We have to get it. See, that much of ultimately we have to this self.
Okay. But Buddha also, Prabhuji, one incident in Buddha's life, he goes to a point where he starves himself and is almost dying, alva. Then that woman, one lady comes and says, unless you have the body and unless you are strong, how can you reach anta heli avlige uta madistale alva. So it has got its place, definitely.
Allala, see, what he was doing is he was starving the body. At that time, body problem is the concept. Okay. Then he realized that starving the body or dropping the body is not the cause. This thing, awareness of the body is important.
Important. Okay. Right. Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. So anybody else has a question? Can we close for the day? Okay. He has a question. Okay. What is it?
You told that the mind, if mind, so when reflection in silent mind, then Chidabhasa will be there.
Body. Okay. So now see what is Ananda. Okay. The Sat Chit Ananda. So then people want a very blissful experience. Okay. Any experience comes and goes. Okay, that experience comes and goes is temporary. That experience comes and goes. Oh, happiness. Now people look for happiness. Then they say, I want a spiritual experience, which is very happiness. They extend that. I am happy with a cup of coffee. I am happy with the job. So I have spiritual experiences with more happiness. That more happiness is not correct. Ananda is essential nature, which is a state of no experience. No experiencer is there, no experience is there, no subject of the duality is there. Any experience to happen, there is a subject of the duality required. In Ananda, there is no subject of the duality. Self alone is there. So it is not an experience from the point of view of the object world. It's a, okay, so the closest I can say is a stillness, silence. Okay, so Ananda means, it comes from the word Ananta, means infinity. So infinity is, what is not finite is infinity. What is infinity? Nobody can imagine, nobody can think. Infinity cannot be experienced. Infinity is, no finite is called infinity. So what is finite? Body is finite, mind is finite, intellect is finite, thought is finite. So when you are recognizing yourself as not a body, not a mind, not an intellect, not a thought, that self-recognition, Pratyavidhana, I am that Brahman, that is called Ananda.
During meditation, actually, we also feel that
that is a reflected Ananda. That is a reflection. That's a reflection. The reflection of Ananda in the mind.
Reflection of Ananda in the mind is Chidabhasa.
Chidabhasa. No, mind. Yeah. Mind Chidabhasa. The mind has become silent. That's why Chidabhasa is getting reflected. Peace is there.
So that peace is, even if it is a reflection, in every reflection there is a.
It's an indication of the. It's an indication of the originality. Indication, but original is not reflection like this. Original doesn't come and go.
We can experience only through reflection only. Our nature.
A reflection mirror you can use till some point. After some time, you throw the mirror and understand who am I. The mind is required. Mirror is required for some level of evolution. Beyond that point, mind is not required. That is called Pratyavidhana. I have recognized myself.
I recognize myself. That is not possible. You told me.
That's what I'm saying. No.
Recognize your non-self only.
No, yeah. The non-self, understand what is non-self, I have eliminated. That's in Parakshadhana, I have eliminated. Then what is self, I have understood, recognized. Now that recognition, knowledge of recognition that no thought, no mind is myself. So this is the new thought. So you are not seeing it as an object. So what you recognize, you are calling that as self. So any thought comes, okay, I am the body, then it should destroy. I am not, it's not possible because I am this. So that recognition is called self-pratyavidhana. That's a positive thought that I am Brahman. If there's no thought, there's no knowledge. This thought is not a knowledge of the object. I am that pure awareness which I experience in the deep sleep state. That's the life.
When, whatever happiness we feel actually now, so this is even, waking state also, not a deep sleep. That is also a reflection only.
Yeah. It is a reflection. The more happy you feel, more reflection is happening. More mind has become silent.
Yes, I wanted to ask, Jnani Purusha always feels happy and blissful.
See, Jnani, his mind is always silent, so happiness is more reflected in his mind. But he knows I am not the reflected happiness, I am the original. It doesn't confuse the reflected happiness with the actual Atma.
At least reflection into
naturally,
what
no.
I feel during meditation.
No, I'm saying naturally, no. The mind has become more, the Jnani's mind has become no mind or silent. There is always happiness reflected. There's a peace.
He will not get any time angry and all.
Obviously, no. I mean, he may get angry because that anger vasana, bhoga vasana may be there. Some vasana may be there. Doesn't mean that he doesn't get angry, but the anger doesn't affect him.
When he is angry, he is not happy.
No, the anger comes momentarily and disappears like a blip.
Sometimes, like
No, see,
we see that angry, or sometimes they are angry.
No, the angry, but there's no Nisargadatta Maharaj, there's no person there. The anger is there or gone.
Anger is there gone, but reflection, what about peaceful reflection?
Background is come to reflection. No, it comes back to silence. See, in your case, that doesn't come back to silence. It will propagate. Noise will go. In case here comes, anger is there, it comes back to silence.
During anger, this is possible.
See, the bliss, what you call as bliss, you have to understand. Bliss or ananda is a non-dual state. Okay. A jnani is non-dual, whether it's angry or non-angry. The duality doesn't come.
So I will not use the word bliss. Bliss is, let us keep it for non-dual. The reflection of the bliss, which we call as happiness. So during anger,
yeah, the momentarily will not be there, but the moment it will come back to immediate silence. No, it is for in case of Adnani, if the anger is there will be 10 days, 15 days, anger will be there, disturbance will be there. In case of Adnani, you will go and come back quickly, settle down.
So when you feel the reflection of this one, that as you told, that finiteness feeling will not be there.
No, there's no me.
But even though it is a reflection,
there's no.
It's a reflection. That finiteness feeling will not be.
There is no me. No. There's no me. Me is never confused with the body, no? Body and mind, no? The finiteness feeling will not come. No, me is the self. He is identified with the self. So where is the me?
So that means if I less and less I identify with myself, with my body, mind, I become more and more peaceful and more happiness.
No. Less and less you identify the body, you have to recognize your true self. There are two counterparts. What I am not and what I am. The what I am have to be clear. What I am have to be clear as the pure awareness, not as a concept.
But it will not lead you, like if I am not, when I have that strong this one, will it not lead it to what I am?
What I am not, you have to eliminate first anyway. That without eliminating what I am not, you cannot get that I am.
Yes.
But after that, you have to recognize that I am, either in conscious state or waking state or dream state or other, either in samadhi or in waking state, that I am.
I am this. Okay. I feel that I am body, I am mind, I am intellect, everything. If I say I am not body, okay, I am not mind.
No, that's what I'm saying. I understood your question. I'm saying
so slowly, everything goes means automatically.
So I am understood your question. What I'm saying is, neti, not, you eliminate. Then
automatically I understand I have to be honest.
Then a positive recognition has happened. What is remaining is I am. That is also a thought.
But what is remaining if we can't even, as if starting with this.
So that what is remaining is emptiness or nothingness. That is I am, the next thought will come. That's called Pratyavidnana. Now that I am references change to that emptiness. Anytime when you ask the question I am, it will go refer to that point to that, which is nothingness. See, you have removed a pointer, body and mind. But it has to, because in the thought process, it has to point to something.
That's required. When I say that, see, when wrong knowledge is.
No, that's what I'm saying.
When that wrong knowledge goes or ignorance goes, automatically there is only knowledge.
Ignorance goes, there's a positive knowledge, I am Brahman, has to be there. That's called positive knowledge. Because again, when the thought comes, this positive knowledge will destroy that.
Negative knowledge can also destroy that. No, what anything else comes to that, I'm not this.
No, sir. The knowledge has two parts. One is removal. Neti, removal. That's not the end. Then you remove the one who is objective. What is saying neti. It is that thought process gone. Then you are going to silence. Now you recognize yourself as silence. Okay? That is the recognition of silence comes up when you come up. That's called Pratyavidana. Now your identity is changed from body, mind.
Starting, you told us that you can always know what you are not.
No, you are mixing. You are mixing. No, you are mixing up that. What I'm saying. You can know. You can know what an object as an object. There is a knowledge, but you can never know yourself as an object. That's what I said. Your complete sentence is like this. You can never know yourself as an object. You can always know yourself as a subject. You always know. Right now you are saying I. You are finding the right eye, but always confusing the wrong eye. That confusion will drop. When you speak, when Ramana Maharshi speaks, I am talking, he will speak of I only, but not your eye. He speaks of the Brahman. He says, I am eating food. He is speaking of Brahman. Okay? He uses the word I. Now the I is never pointing to body and mind. It is pointing to pure awareness. The pointer changes. That's a positive recognition of self, but not as an object, but as a self. That
pointer changes or pointer drops.
the wrong pointer drops.
When wrong voice, automatically the recognition happens.
I'm saying you can say that, but my view is not sufficient. My view means there's a positive, clear knowledge happens. I am Brahman. I am Brahmasmi. The all realized person will be able to confidently say I am Brahman. It's a positive knowledge. Now that Brahman is not an object.
They can say like that.
They'll say.
That I am Brahman.
Absolutely. They may not say for a public sake.
No, not public sake. But that feeling itself will be there that I am Brahman.
Obviously. As clearly as your I am body.
I mean, they will not be silent. I mean, within that, they will not be silent. That is a thought, no. I am Brahman.
That's what I'm saying, sir. All ultimately, everything has to complete change of thought structure changes. Now the I thought which was pointing to body and mind will change to Brahman. Now the Brahman is not an object. Brahman is myself. For example, you are saying, who are you? I'll say I am Sheikh. I am Suresh. Now when Brahman says I am Brahman Vashi, he is pointing to Brahman. He knows he is Brahman. That clear positive knowledge is there, not just a absence of some knowledge.
No, absence of knowledge is not.
No, it's not an absence of knowledge. It's a clear positive knowledge that I am Brahman.
That's what I am also saying. There is positive knowledge. There is no knowledge.
No. It's not a no knowledge. It's not an emptiness of knowledge. It's not.
Emptiness, not positive.
No. Emptiness is. See, the teaching happens in silence. They say they are all for communication purpose.
Not for teaching, but for the feeling purpose. When he is there without any public.
No, sir. Actually, you are confusing what I am telling you. Please understand. When you are speaking Suresh, okay, you are speaking of Brahman only. I am, when you speak I am, you are always speaking of Brahman. But you are confusing Suresh. In case of Gnani, that confusion drops. He knows I am Brahman. That's all.
That confusion
so I am, earlier, I am is always associated with the body. Okay. In case of Gnani, that body association goes. The I am is there, is pointing to pure awareness. Now that clarity will remove all the ignorance. Next thoughts will cut off. A thought only can cut off thought.
That I understand in the practice session. That,
no, not practice.
No, not the body mind. I am Brahman. I am Brahman.
No. I'm not speaking. I'm not speaking of what is it? Self-hypnosis or repetition.
No, not repetition. I mean, what you say, manana.
Manana is over. Manana is over.
Body.
Manana is over. Now you are against a gap. Awareness. Now that awareness becomes stabilized. In waking up also, you are aware and there's a gap. So now your identity has changed from a body-mind complex to a no body, no mind complex. Now, always when you speak of I, you are always referring to that.
That means if I sleep, Ramana Mahesh, when he is silently sitting in, mind will be silent, or will it be say that, oh, I am Brahman?
No, yaar. Why should mind speak of I am Brahman? See, I am Brahman, when I am saying a communication purpose, when he speaks of I am Brahman, he is always speaking of Brahman. Just like when you are speaking, Suresh is speaking, I am Suresh. So you are speaking about body and mind. So Ramana says, I am Brahman. She has speak of Brahman only. There's no
communication. Okay, I am Brahman is required. Okay, but no communication is happening.
No, it's silent. No, why should you communicate anything?
So at that time, the question was that do we require to change the pointer or just drop the pointer?
I'm saying that drop the pointer. After dropping the pointer, there's a very positive knowledge happens. That's called Pratyavidnana. Okay, just absence of some knowledge is not end of knowledge. A wrong knowledge has to be replaced with the right knowledge. Whenever wrong knowledge comes, it will just cut it off. It is not a self-suggestion, auto-suggestion. There's a clear recognition I am Brahman. So there will be no more confusion. Vidyate hridaye granthi chidyate sarva samshaya. Your ignorance gets dropped. All doubts will go. Doubts will go means mind will be free, clutter-free. It's not just a absence of knowledge. It is a clear positive knowledge. That's called Pratyavidnana. It's not, before also Pratyavidnana, I am Brahman was there. But there is not a positive knowledge. That's only assertion. Okay, I am Brahman, you'll say and use it to remove thoughts. Then it doesn't become an assertion, it becomes a reality. Whether he expresses it, whether he speaks it, whether he doesn't speak it, it is a real thought. Not a just absence of thought.
Not absence of thought. It is a presence of positive thought.
Positive thought. Okay, I'll put a disclaimer. This is all my understanding. I can't say whether it's perfect or not.
You told about beliefs. That's what I also believe. But you now question was that Ananda when you say, so even though Ananda is also a reflection. I mean, Ananda is pure, okay, infinite, you're telling.
Yeah.
But once it is reflected in a Jnani Purusha, so he will be always blissful.
Jnani Purusha is always blissful. Whether Ananda is there or somebody puts a nail into his leg also, is blissful. There's a say, what is your question? It's a pain and suffering. Pain is a part of life. There's no choice of pain for any enlightened being or unenlightened being. Some Buddha hit a stone, he will have pain. But Buddha will not have suffering. There's no emotional reaction comes after that. No anger, no fear, no recollection. Whereas a Adnani will go through tremendous amount of emotional reaction. That's called suffering.
That's not what you told is that it is physical, pain is physical, and
suffering is psychological. Enlightenment removes suffering, enlightenment doesn't remove pain.
This one is there, sir. During the pain only, suffering is
so
happening.
This is where I'm saying, I'm giving a definition.
When you say pain means it is like a neurological impulse.
Correct.
It is telling that
so
there is a problem.
That's what I'm saying. Please understand.
Because of that, I suffer during that period.
That's what is your word.
After the pain,
no, there is a language you are using. So the moment there's a pain in the body, in case of enlightened being, there's just a pain. In case of unenlightened being, there are 10,000 thoughts called suffering. That's the difference between enlightenment and unenlightened person. So enlightened person, when there's a pain, just pain. Unenlightened person, pain plus memory, pain plus cursing, pain plus tears. Tears are enlightenment also. So he'll say, mind also starts creating reactions in case of unenlightened being. So that is called suffering. So enlightenment removes the suffering, but enlightenment relieves the pain. So now if you say that when there's a pain, the suffering also is there, then I agree. Because if the mind is agitated, it'll have suffering. But it's not true in case of enlightened being.
Well, and this question will leave it like that. Just what is the difference between enlightenment and knowledge? But I am telling about pain and suffering only. When I have a pain in my foot, and it is painful. 5 minutes, it is painful. So when it's painful is there, I am suffering during that.
That's what I'm saying. You are suffering because
remove suffering from pain.
You can remove from suffering. That's why there's the end of suffering is there. That's what is called enlightenment. Enlightenment is not guaranteed the end of pain.
But when you say not end of pain, it's not end of suffering. There is no pain and suffering is like two parts of the
that's what is mixed up in you. That doesn't get mixed up in an enlightened person. Because all emotional reactions, memory, all gets mixed up with the pain.
No, there is difference, sir. What you are talking about is that there is a pain, and when I remember, oh, I had a painful day that day, so I suffer. I'm not talking about that part.
No, all unconscious emotions will come. That's called suffering. You may consciously remember, you unconsciously remember. That's called suffering. So in case of enlightened being, that unconscious part or conscious part, both are gone. So when there is a pain, there is a pain.
There is a pain means there is a suffering. Pain is suffering.
No, sir. We are mixing up, sir. Pain is physiological.
Physiological, that is suffering also. How is suffering different, sir?
Suffering
is not physiological.
Suffering is the pain momentarily happens in the mind. Suffering is persists after the pain is there. I give you an example, right? If somebody calls you a bad name, that moment there's a pain. Then that pain you prolong by recollecting it again recreating in the body.
If I recollect it by memory, again there will be a pain.
Correct.
Not that pain
Correct.
which was earlier.
Correct. Enlightenment removes that recollection. There's no more recollection.
Recollection will be there, but it will not be painful.
Recollection will not be there and it doesn't cause pain.
Recollection will not be there. Oh, he told it. You will not remember.
He may not.
I had a tea means, okay, yeah, I had a tea. If I enlightened person remembers, he will also have, yeah, he told I did, he will remember. But that emotion will
enlightened person, if it's an incident to be remembered, he'll remember. Otherwise, it's worth not remembering, just gone. Blip. Erased. Some say, okay, this has to be removed, he'll remember. This is not important. Why that person called me idiot, I don't have to remember, it doesn't remember. So it doesn't become an important record in the memory.
But what happens for enlightened person during the 5 minutes pain?
There's a pain in the body. The attention is going to the pain. So that if you want to call it suffering, call it.
It's, I think how to say, your voice won't be able to say, oh, it's painful. I'm telling, it's a suffering only, no? When you're not enlightenment, oh, it's
Say,
painful.
you please,
it's a pain.
you please,
Okay,
no,
let it be.
you please understand my definition of suffering. Suffering persists after pain is there. Through a memory.
During a pain, suffering is not there.
Suffering is the persistence of pain. Suffering goes to 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years also it goes. In enlightenment person, after the pain is gone, zero suffering will be there. That's what is enlightenment definition.
That's correct, I understood. Sir.
Ah.
But what about
So no,
during pain?
you're
after the pain.
you're trying to define the word pain as a suffering. I have no problems. But my definition of suffering is this. Any pain persisting, psychological pain persisting after the pain is gone is called suffering. Okay, now if the pain itself you want to call it suffering, you call it. I have no problems. Enlightened must also cry. I have pain, the pain is there. What is paining? But it's not a suffering, it's not memory recollection, it's the body physiological recollection.
But I also say that suffering is also pain. I'm not only telling that pain is suffering, but I also saying that suffering is pain. And both are same, I feel. Because I'm telling you.
No, mind recreates on the body. Correct? No, I am giving a definition from the enlightenment point of view. So enlightened person, the mind doesn't recreate pain on the body. The blip, it's gone. That exactly is meaning of enlightenment.
Suppose, sir, I am very angry.
Okay?
I'm very angry. So you will say that there is suffering, but there is no pain. What I feel is that, okay, it's a psychological. Anger is very psychological, but it also has a physical effect. So there is a burning. And that
Correct,
burning,
no.
that sensation,
that is
a painful.
That is
that is suffering also.
See, you are mixing up pain and suffering. For example, for me, last anger was I had when I was 18-year-old. After that, I have no anger. In fact, I cannot remember what anger is. So it cannot cause any reaction in the body. That's gone. When I was 18-year-old, that was last time I had anger. And I know exactly when I had anger and how much anger I had.
18-year-old.
When I was 18-year-old or 17-year-old. Okay, now I am 58, 57. For 40 years, I don't have anger. I don't know what anger is.
But you told that I want to leave anger.
No, that I told him. See, he said, actually, I didn't tell about anger. I told I leave desire. Okay, he said, it's impossible. I leave anger. Okay, it's impossible. Leave some fruit, he said. Then I left, pineapple. Okay, but for me, it's practical. For him, it's impossible. It appears impossible.
Every human being have a physical effect. And anger is also, there is a
So that's what I'm giving you an example now. I'm saying anger has left from my mind system. The enlightenment means exactly that. There are 6 Arishadvargas. Kama, Krodha, Mada, Matsara, Moha, Lobha.
passions.
They just disappear. That's what is called Arhat. Okay? So then Arhat has no suffering because of this. He may have pain. Somebody hits him, he has a pain. But he will not remember and create the pain on the body. He will not get angry and create the pain on the body.
Pain can't be removed.
That is, pain is there for Krishna or Rama or Buddha, there will be pain.
They will not suffer during.
It's over. That moment it happened is over. It doesn't prolong in their subconscious. For your information, many of the discussion which you have will be just disappearing from my consciousness. I won't even remember. That's why Gayatri keeps a record. Sometimes I don't even remember what I spoke yesterday. It doesn't leave any impression.
You will not say, but next time when you say, but memory will not be there. Your memory will not be there. Not emotions will not be there.
Memory also. See, what happens is some events will get recorded, some events will even don't get recorded, not worth recording.
So that is a judicious decision?
That judgment, something happens inside. So, see, the priority gets changed. It's like ultimately priority system. Right? For example, for somebody, okay, a priority, no? For somebody, let's say, if I wear a red dress for a function, you should not wear a red dress. For 10 days, you'll remember. That is a priority. It's not even worth remembering. Right? That becomes a priority. What is priority gets deeply recorded in the memory. So in enlightenment or liberation, the priorities all get changed. Something worth has to do this, it will be recorded.
Normal person also worth thing only he will remember.
Correct, Appa. But what happens is many unworthy things also he will remember. So enlightenment, this whole, the priority gets rescheduled, reorganized. So anger will drop. Okay, whether it will drop fully or not partially, I'm saying that's a cause of suffering. That will go.
Ananda, when you're talking, these yogis or siddhas, they are doing meditation, they are in that totally the blissful. Ramakrishna Paramahansa also came to know that he'll be in a blissful state.
No, that is
all that.
So there is actually what you call as samadhi. There's a, see, this bliss, when people explain the bliss to people, okay, they can understand only through body reaction and this thing. Samadhi is ananda, recognition of self state, which is a blissful state. That has an effect on the mind.
Yeah.
That is effect on the mind will be reflecting it maximum. Okay, but that is not the ananda they are speaking of. That's the self, ananda of the self they are speaking of. Original, not the reflection. But people understand only in terms of reflection.
Everything we can understand will be from the
reflection point, not from the original point of view. Understanding of the people is from reflection point of view, but his experience is original. He is speaking, I am blissful, he is speaking of the original.
But the reaction what we see in this mind, that is always, I mean, that is one of the factor of motivating us to go for.
No, I am saying that is correct only. But what I am saying is, that is not the original, that's only reflected, that's a byproduct. People think byproduct is the main product. That's not what I am saying. Byproduct always will be that. Okay, people confuse the byproduct of enlightenment as the main product. That's what I am saying. There is a difference.
I understand it. I mean, many of them, if you say, what you want, peace, I want. So
correct.
You are the peace, if you say, they will not have that.
No. That's what they have to recognize. That's the original. Now, otherwise, this place will be just coming and going, on and off. That doesn't come and go.
Actually, I'm just not thinking that this peace is not coming and going. Peace is your nature, but only that education is coming and going. And the peace is always there.
Correct.
That's what the feeling of this. So another is my nature. Only that agitation comes and goes means. So agitation has a longer period. That's why I feel like that. Okay, the peace is coming and another is coming. But still, that is another is also not clear. This is also only a reflection of it.
Everything what you see as a face on the body and all is a reflection. But when Gnani speaks of Ananda, he is speaking of the original. People can see only reflection. And even his face also will change. His face also will please people. But that's only reflection, not the original.
Yeah, this peace, when you speak of Ananda and love, all the three are same.
No, love is different. The peace is silence of the mind. Love is feeling of connectedness in the mind. Connectedness.
Connectedness of the mind.
Connectedness of the world. I am connected with the world. Oneness. So you love something which you are connected. I love my daughter because she is connected to me. I love my son because I am connected to me. So there is feeling of oneness or connectedness is there. There is
a oneness means, how can there be oneness? If there is a oneness means there is no I and you.
No.
Then how can be?
Advaita is no two-ness. No two-ness is not oneness.
No, okay.
Oneness is I am there, someone is there, I am connected. The bhakti is when I am there, God is there, we are connected.
Connection, what type of connection? Suppose I am also connected that I am angry on somebody.
No,
if I am angry on somebody, there is a connection that
connected means is a part of me, is adding to me. So it's an extension of me. My daughter is an extension of me. It's connected to me. So that connection is called love. So that's called bhakti. And bhakti is a mental state in that state. That's called upasana. Upasana is a lower level. So there you feel connected to God. God is still a person or entity. I am also a person entity. There is a connection. That connection I call as oneness.
There is a duality always. No? I am Bhakta and he is God.
Correct.
So there is a bhakti connectivity.
Correct.
But there is no love connectivity.
That is bhakti connectivity.
There is oneness when you say that.
Bhakti means what? Bhakti means love only. Bhakti is another name for love. Love is English word. Bhakti is Sanskrit word. So love for a human being is called love for a human being is love. It's called prema in Sanskrit. Love for higher is called bhakti.
I am calling only one love. That is mother, father. I am.
No, that is not called bhakti. That is called prema in Sanskrit. That is called prema. So higher is called bhakti. Prema for the higher is called bhakti. Higher means something greater than me.
I understand it. But, what is that?
Feeling of connectedness. So my son is connected to me. It's part of my blood relationship.
Well, this body mind is also connected to me. Can I say that, okay, I love my this
Of
body?
course you love your body. The moment something happens to your body, you'll run.
When I say I am not this body, so that means my love for body is there.
Yes. You're dropping
You are
the.
talking about attachment.
That's what I'm saying. When the mind is used, the love is converted into attachment. For the higher, if you love, that attachment becomes detachment. If you love God, the qualities of God, the love attachment becomes detachment.
So, attachment on what? I will be detached with worldly things. I will be attached to the world.
Correct.
God. What is that attachment?
See.
Love and attachment are same, that means.
There's a difference between love and attachment. Attachment is when you expect something from that. I am attached to my wife because my wife gives me happiness. If my wife doesn't give me happiness, I'm not attached to her. I don't love her. There's an expectation of a give and take in attachment. In love, there's no expectation of give and take. Just being the presence itself gives me joy.
So, there is expectation of joy then?
Correct.
That is
No.
also attachment.
There's no expectation of transaction.
It's a transaction, sir. Because
Correct.
I want her because she is giving me joy.
Correct. So the presence gives happiness. Okay. Absence doesn't give unhappiness. That's called love.
Absence will not.
Presence gives happiness.
Ah.
Absence doesn't cause unhappiness. There's no expectation attached to the presence. So whereas in case of attachment, give something, there is happiness.
If absence of the object, if it is not giving unhappiness, then that also is a happiness only. Absence of unhappiness is
So
happiness.
your
So
happiness-
in both states you are happy.
In both state, just being
There
associated.
is no relationship between you and that object because our
The-
happiness is there
just-
after and before and after.
Just being associated with the person, I feel expanded. I feel joyful. Okay, the person, I don't expect anything from the person, money or power or anything. That's called pure love or love without attachment. Most of the love is with attachment. Even my children's love is attachment. Children have to respect
All
me.
love, I feel that I don't know that pure love. What
No,
is that
I'm
pure
saying,
love?
that's the definition of pure love. Most of the love, I love my child because it's my child.
Yes.
The love is
Yes,
restricted.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Love is restricted.
I think that my itself is attachment itself.
Yeah, my causes attachment. Okay. So now in case of God, that's also love. People say I love God because they have expectation. God will give me promotion, God will give me happiness, God will give me health. That's that. So that's also mental level.
Correct.
So that mental level attachment to God, constantly thinking of God, brings out some deeper change in the body, mind. Because the qualities of God are higher than your friend or relative.
When I am praying God for some promotion or anything, I am not loving God or I am not doing bhakti to God. I am doing loving and bhakti to the promotion, expectation of promotion.
You do that, but in the process, what happens, you're constantly thinking of God. Gradually, this is transformation happens because the quality of God you think first, and then you think of promotion. It's called lower level bhakti. Bhakti with the attachment. That's how most of the people start in their life. So gradually, some people will migrate. So now I don't want promotion, I want God. Some of the conferences, I want to be in the company of God. There was a psychological comfort over here. That's also called bhakti. But that's also a mental level. Bhakti is at the mental level. So bhakti is not highest. So then bhakti purifies you, then that purification purifies you for gnana. It's called upasana.
What is it?
Huh?
Upasana.
Upasana is whatever you call it, bhakti, no? Constantly thinking of God, puja, all those things are called upasana. So that's it. First you start with what you call as kamya bhakti. I want this, I want this, I want this. Gradually, sometimes some people get converted to Nishkama Bhakti. I want God. I want the presence of God. It's a psychological only, mental only. Then it goes beyond the mind. Then you understand I and God are connected as one reality. So that is you are operating at the I am level now. At the I am level, I am one with God. There's a oneness. I am there and there's oneness is there. There's a tremendous feeling of expansion and connectivity. That I call as love. So the world or God or a person is not different from me. I am there, but there's another body also. That I am is there in both. There's a oneness at the same time. There's a difference. Difference in the perception, but oneness in the experience. That is now you are moved into a pure bhakti. Now you are not attached to God because of the perception. You are attached, you are feeling, I am one with God. I am connected to God. Myself is present, or that self is present here.
But this love and peace and ananda are anywhere connected. During love is there ananda.
No. The love gives a sense of expansion. Okay. Happiness also gives a sense of expansion. Right? Happiness of mind has become silent. In love also mind becomes silent and there's an expansion. Both are related in that sense. Okay. Whereas mind can become silent without an object.
Mind can do it without object.
Love requires an object to become silent.
Love requires an object to become silent.
Love requires some other to become silent. Love, in this presence of something else, I become silent. That's called love.
Like I love food from Italy, suppose. So Italy will give me happiness. So this object is required for connecting to the true love.
Right.
But once that connection happens, that happiness comes. So by this object, I am getting the happiness.
Whereas the mind can be silent. In the silent state of happiness can be there.
Silent mind is happy. So the feeling of love will also be there. Connectedness will be there.
Connectedness, there is nothing to be connected. No? In the silent state, there is nothing to be connected.
Nothing to be connected means there is a oneness.
There's one. No. There is oneness is a feeling. So now,
for love, there requires an object-subject.
Subject object is.
For peace, there is no subject-object. Get joined means it is a
mind becomes silent.
And peace then means is as good as ananda.
Peace is reflection of ananda. Peace itself is not ananda.
Okay.
When there is a peace means no agitation in the mind. When there is no agitation in the mind, ananda gets reflected in the mind as happiness.
So if I am very happy, by happiness, laughing, happy and all that get agitated. So happiness also can lead it to unpeaceful. Because at that time I can't say I'm peaceful. I'm laughing, I'm not peaceful. Because mind is not silent. But I'm happy also.
No, you can be happy only when the mind is silent. So, happiness.
At that time I should be peaceful.
Yeah. No. So happiness, the bliss has reflected the mind as happiness. So then there's a feeling arises called love, which is we are feeling it connected with the object, other thing. That is called love. So peace and peace can be there without that connection also, I'm trying to say.
Without the connectivity also peaceful can be there. But okay, that's not what you told about happiness also. Without any object also.
No. Happiness is the presence is required, but there's no expectation of anything from the other.
If your mind is silent, there is no object, nothing is there, still it can be happy. And it will be peaceful also. And there is no feeling of love because
peace means no agitation in the mind. That's all means peace. Happiness means reflection of the ananda in the no agitation mind. It's a maximum reflection of this.
Peace will lead to happiness.
Peace required to happiness. Silence is required to make it happiness to reflect. Okay, we'll close for the day. Okay, we'll close for the day. Gayatri.